Hey, what's going on, guys? Brother Brian checking in on this Thursday from beautiful Houston, Texas. And I apologize up front if you hear a little bit of music in the background. My wife is actually, she owns a dance company, and they're actually practicing right now for, I think they're doing some choreographing. And if you're interested, I'll provide a link to her dance company below. They do an African dance called Kizomba, which is actually, it sounds like it's gradually gaining momentum. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about something that my mentor Mike Hobbs brought up. He received an email recently from someone that they were interested in joining, but they didn't have the $25 to get started with their home-based business, right? So they sent him an email saying, you know, I want to get started, but how can I if I don't have that $25? And I thought he brought up a lot of interesting points that I wanted to share with you guys, because I think that can add a lot of value to your lives. Now, guys, one thing he brought up was, he was saying, if you or I, if we ever find ourselves in that situation where we want to do something, we're ready to do it, but we're just, we ask the question, how can I do it if I don't have the money to begin? I don't have it, or I can't do it because I don't have the money, right? Right away, by saying I can't or by saying I don't, you're kind of closing off your mind. I really implore you guys, and awareness is key here, right? Because if you're not aware of how your speech is, how you're talking, then it's going to be a lot more difficult to correct it. But if you are aware, and obviously everything comes with practice, guys. So let's say I catch myself saying that. Instead, what I can do is say, wait a minute, how about I ask a question? Instead of saying, man, I want to join, but I just can't afford it, how about I ask, how can I afford this? Because one of the things that Mike Hobbs brought up is, he was saying, he guarantees that there's got to be something in your house that's worth more than $25, right? But at the end of the day, it really depends on the person, right? Because we only want to work with people that are motivated, that are willing to do whatever it takes to get in and to take their business to the next level and to add value and to help people, right? So if you're not the kind of person that's not willing to do whatever it takes, whether that's getting a second job, even if it's working at McDonald's part-time to get that $25, or to get whatever money it takes for you to get started. Because guys, another thing that Mike brought up is, he was saying, if you ever find yourself in a situation, right, where you can't afford something, you really want something, but you're just like, man, I just can't do it. You got to really ask yourself, is what I've been doing up to this point really working for me? You got to ask yourself, what have I been doing? Maybe I've been working for 5 years, depending on your age. Maybe you've been working 10, 20, 30 years, right? And you got to look at the scenario you're in and really ask yourself, is what I'm doing working if I can't even afford chump change to get into a home-based business that can potentially give me the freedom I've always wanted in my life, right? That could potentially free me up from that rat race, that job, or even give me a little bit of extra part-time income. Maybe, during these tough times, a lot of people are struggling, and maybe they don't want $10,000, $20,000 a month. Maybe they just need an extra $500 a month, or whatever it is, right? And a home-based business is certainly a vehicle that can do that, because it's done that for people time and time again. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, guys, where you're saying, I can't do something, try to rephrase it. Try to think about it differently. Try to ask questions when you feel blocked. And I thought that was some really good advice. And also, one thing that Mike brought up was, he was saying there was a point where he wanted to get started in a home-based business. And I think he mentioned, I don't know if he mentioned how much it cost, but he reached a point in his life where, a lot of people hit rock bottom, right? And he reached a point where he couldn't even afford groceries, right? His credit cards were all maxed out, and he got actually declined for groceries at the grocery store, and he ended up having to go to his local church to be able to feed his family. They were giving him food. So, and he still found a way to be able to get into a home-based business, because at the time he said he had 2 cars, and he ended up selling one of his cars for $5,000, and he took that $5 grand and put it into a home-based business. So guys, there really isn't any excuses if you know what you want, if you ask the questions, and you're willing to do whatever it takes. Because my mentor was willing to do whatever it takes, right? He reached a point where he couldn't even afford to feed his family, so he had to really think outside the box. How can I get that $5,000 to start a home-based business? And he realized that his current situation, the job that he was working, was obviously totally broken if he couldn't even afford that $5,000 to get into an amazing opportunity. So guys, I hope you found some value in that. If you did, obviously I'd appreciate it if you liked it, if you shared it, if you commented. I love hearing people's feedback. And once again, Brother Brian, checking out. I was about to say checking in, but I'm checking out this time. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.